I want to do a gush on a movie called Knives Out. This one's popular, so if you've seen it already, good on you. And if you haven't seen it, I hope to persuade you to giving it a watch. This was one of those movies for me where I had heard people sing praises of it, everybody was talking about it, blah blah blah. And I was like, it's probably fine. Like, it's, it was kind of like Game of Thrones for me. Everybody was singing praises, and I was just like, or Rick and Morty, like, alright, cool. I almost don't want to watch it in terms of principle, because it's what, is mainstreamly popular at the moment. So it's just, okay, I'll just take your word for it, and we'll just keep chugging along. That was definitely my opinion on it, or my perspective, not opinion. Finally, one night, I just decided to ask, I got nothing else to watch, I'll throw it on. I've heard glowing reviews. I might as well give it a go. And oh my goodness, am I glad I did. It's very cleverly written. It's not, I do really appreciate this about the movie. There's no fighting, there's no kick, there's no punch, there's no, hi-ya, It's all very much, thinking movie. A lot of stuff, like I just talked about one called Sherlock Holmes. Even though you're supposed to be thinking and you're trying to figure it out, there's a lot of kicking, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of just, I don't want to say needless violence or needless action, but in Knives Out is very much a whodunit mystery. Who killed Christopher Plummer? Okay, what's his name in the film is Harlan Thrombey. Who killed Harlan Thrombey? And it starts out cleverly. It starts out with the detective who's played by Daniel Craig, Vinal Blanc, I think is how you say it. And oh my gosh, he's an absolute goofy Southern drawl accent. I'll be honest, it did put me off for a little bit. I thought it was an interesting choice by either the director or by Daniel Craig. But near the end of the movie, I got over it. It was fine. But the movie starts out where the detective is interviewing all the members of Harlan Thrombey's family, because he was a very rich author, probably a billionaire. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Actually, probably not. Probably just a millionaire. Just a millionaire. Doesn't matter. Anyways. And so he has to interview one, two. Maybe if I press more options. Nope. Oh, view all. Come on. So he has to interview his two sons. No. Is that his brother? Is that his son? No, that must be his son. So his two sons, his daughter. Oh, wait, no, that's his husband. That's her husband. Okay, so this doesn't matter. Why am I splitting hairs over this? This doesn't matter. He's interviewing the members of Thrombey's family, and they're trying to figure it out. And as they're doing, they're having cutscenes and flashbacks, and they're showing what the people being interviewed remember. So like, oh, this is a good example. This is a great example. So they're listening to the guy who died, or they're listening to his son-in-law, and his son-in-law is giving a explanation of the birthday party the night before his death. And it cuts to a bit of the son-in-law and his wife, who's the guy who's died's daughter, and they're placing a cake down in front of the guy who died, right? And everybody's happy and they're having a good time. But when they're interviewing the guy who's died's son, so a different person, it cuts to the same image, the same exact, they're placing a cake down, but instead of the son-in-law and his daughter, it is now his son and then his wife. So the guy who's died, daughter-in-law. It's really cool because they're showing, when they're telling their stories and when they're trying to figure out what happened, each individual is putting forth their best self. And they're each twisting the details just a little bit to put themselves in a more favorable position and to swish blame off of them. It's really cleverly done, and like the illustration, especially with the illustrations, because we can visually see this. Just the setting the cake down. Who is setting the cake down? One side says it's them, the other side says it's them, and each side shows that Thromby, or the guy who died, is overjoyed to be spending time with their family. And then you can. Oh, this was another good one. So the son-in-law. This is just complicated. Just watch the movie if you want any more. Because it really goes well with visual aids. So the son-in-law is talking politics with the rest, and from his perspective, he reaches over and he beckons Thromby's nurse, who's there just because he's having issues, because he's like 80, 89. So he like beckons over Thromby's nurse, and they're having a time. The nurse is smiling, blah blah. Everybody's happy. But when it's told from the nurse's perspective, he's being extremely condescending and insulting her, and he's basically treating her like a servant. And he's just being just dick. And I love seeing all those different perspectives, because you're seeing the same scene, you're seeing the same instance, except it's now from whose perspective are we going to believe it? Like, who has the right, or the more accurate, I should say, perception of what happened, of events that occurred. And the movie goes on, whatever, and it starts out as the whodunit, who killed Harlan Thromby, and halfway through the movie, again, there's so much information here, I don't want to spoil it, but halfway through the movie, we figure it out. We know who did it. And then it becomes oh no, can this person cover it up? Like, can they get away with it? Because you start to empathize with the person who is technically at fault. And by the end, everything once again gets thrown on its head, and there's this big reveal. And it's written very much like a mystery novel. Oh, it's good. It's so cool. And the performances by all the actors and actresses are fantastic. The main lady in the first one is Ana de Armas. I might be getting that wrong. She plays Marta Cabrera. She does an excellent job. Daniel Craig, apart from his goofy accent, attempting to be Colonel Sanders. They even make a joke on that, which I appreciate, in the movie. He does a fantastic job. Chris Evans is in it. He does a good job. I mean, pretty much everybody does a good job. Jamie Lee Curtis, Madeline Cleany, I don't know who that is, Christopher Plummer. And now we're getting into the second movie, which there is a second movie. It's called The Glass Onion. I'm sure you've heard of that one as well. I've already talked about Knives Out for quite a bit, and I don't want to bleed over into this next movie. I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. It's worth a watch. I thought it was a bit on the nose, and since the first movie was so well written and so what word do I want to use? It was so not cathartic. The first movie was so cleverly written. There we go. That's so the first movie was so cleverly written that we come to expect equal an equal amount of cleverness in the Glass Onion, except in the first movie we weren't really expecting it, so we're all blown away. In the second movie, we're now actively looking for it, so it lost a lot of the mystery, because now we're already starting to second guess what's happening, and try to pick out lies and stuff. I thought the second movie was fine. I didn't think it was as good as the first one, but it's definitely worth a watch. I know that it went through some development issues. Like, I think, so the director was Ryan Johnson. He did the first one, I believe mainly on his own. And I think Netflix bought the rights to The Glass Onion. And you can definitely feel it. Definitely feels a little more, less polished. Like, it feels like the development of the movie. Like, the first one feels like the development was many years in the making. Where the second one feels like it was a little more rushed to capitalize on that cheddar cheese, if you know what I mean. And I just looked it up right now. It looks like there is a Knives Out 3 scheduled for 2024. I don't know how accurate that information is, but I'll probably give it a watch when it comes out. So yeah, give Knives Out a watch. It's pretty good. It's interesting. And honestly, it's probably my favorite movie of the past decade, just because of how cleverly written it is. I can't really think of another movie that's just as well written, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's good. Give it a watch.